Hi everybody, I'm Bill Sanders and this is Watch Art Sci, the art and science of watch collection. Um, I want to add, I had five of the best watches in the world and I want to add five more to that, and I'll probably add five more after this. These watches are so good that any one of them are best in some respect, and so these the problem, one of the things, I mean, these are truly great watches. The biggest problem is that they're unaffordable for most of us. But the thing about it is that we can find features in these watches that make them the best, perhaps in one that doesn't cost so much. So let's take a look at these. The first one is Griebel Force. It's called a Handmade one, and it's everything about it's handmade. It's a manual winding mechanical power reserve of 60 hours, 3 hertz, that's 21,600 VPH. And then it's got hours, minutes, seconds, and a tourbillon. The tourbillon helps to keep it accurate. And one of the things that I've seen come up here, and the ones that look at these things and they're, gee, these are great watches. One of the things that keeps coming up is that they're excellent in terms of chronometers, and so this is something that is a recurring theme. So if you go and you get a little watch with an ETA in it that has a COSC certification, that's a good starting place. It really is, because it's talking about the quality of the movement. Now, an ETA movement, is an ETA, but one with a COSC certification means that it's a chronometer. Okay, so this is the first one, Handmade one, and this is about $700,000, something like that. I mean, it doesn't. I don't want to talk too much about these because they are so expensive and they're wonderful watches. That's talking about the best in the world. Okay, this next one, now this is a bargain one. It's about 40,000. This is a great watch, Streamliner flyback chronograph automatic. Now this is by H. Moser et Compagnie. And this watch came out a couple years ago, I think. And the thing about it is that it is a couple things that really set this one apart. First of all, it doesn't the case, the bracelet, everything about it is unique. The other part is this movement. Now, the movement is by a company called Agenor. It was originally called the Agengraph movement. I mean, it still is. But Precision Engineering, which is the H. Moser's sort of techie group, their watchmaker arm of it, they had certain modifications in the original one, and it was they included a couple things. They included a flyback. They put all of the information on a single dial, which is, to me, is excellent. And they removed the chronograph hour hand. Now, removing a chronograph hour hand, I say, well, would they do that? How can I time something with the hour? Well, you use a regular hour hand. They don't exactly go very fast. Now, I am one of those people who doesn't like chronographs. The major reason I don't like them is because they scramble up the dial. You have your 2 or 3 sub-dials with the little moving things, and you got all of these hands in there. Very difficult to read things sometimes. And the thing about the Agengraph is it totally revolutionized everything about chronographs. It just sort of threw out the old rule book and brought in a new one. Brilliant, brilliant work. The name of the movement within the H. Moser uses movement number HMC 902. Agenor is the AGH 6361.MO. So you have this incredible movement, put together with a very, very clean watch that you can use for lots more than just trying to figure out what the chronograph is. Love this watch. This next watch is another one I like a lot. This is a chronometry Ferdinand Berthoud FB2RE.2. They have a name, their naming system. One of the things I like about it, I had mentioned the chronographs. A lot of the ones, not a chronograph, but a chronometer. A lot of chronometers have come out, and the watches that win the chronometer category for the Grand Prix are often they're simply the best watches around. And I think this is one of them. I think it won a prize. It certainly should have. From the front, you've got a pretty standard looking dial and so forth, but the movement to me is just beautiful. You have that great big sort of a four-leaf clover shaped balance on it, and in each of sort of the indents on it, you have a little timing or timing. I call them timing weights there for adjusting. Just this gorgeous, beautiful movement. Love this watch, hand wound, 2.5 hertz, 18,000 VPH. This is another thing. You find all of these best watches, you find a 2.5 or 3 hertz. Rarely do you find more than that, but we're going to look at one that has more right now. This next one is the Bethune DB25 Starry Various Chronomet Tourbillon. Now, there's two things about this watch that give me pause. And there's what I wanted to do. I wanted to say, okay, I'm going to put my prejudices aside. And this one has two of my prejudices that I have. One is this 36,000 VPH movement. That's 5 hertz. That's thing is really beating the dickens out of the movement and the parts. That's how come I don't like it. I don't have anything against it because it's fast. It's just that you have a really banging up everything. It's not a bad thing. And you get great accuracy with this. The other thing I don't like is silicium in the escapement. Now, silicium is used in both hairspring, Patek Philippe uses them, and in escapements. The great thing about them is that they are wholly non-magnetic, and that's important. I've got a lot of watches that once they become magnetized, have got problems with them. So that's a good thing about it. On the other hand, though, I don't know, silicon, I sort of like it out of mechanical watches, but like I said, that's me. Not everybody would agree with that. This one has hours, minutes, seconds, and jumping second, and a tourbillon. To me, it's not only a gorgeous watch, but it's one that is certainly a chronometer rated. Notice that on the front, it doesn't say chronometer, it can, but why they figure, poof, why should I put chronometer on this gorgeous watch of mine? Okay, now, this final one is a watch by Daniel Roth. Now, his company is now called Jean Daniel Nicholas, named after him, Daniel and his wife and son. So they got the family names, and the reason for that is I think Bulgari now owns because he sold his company that was called Daniel Roth. Now, what he makes are these magic watches. These are called 2-minute tourbillons, and that's the name of it. He's called it tourbillon 2 minutes. And he makes about 2 of them a year. They take about 6 months. They're all handmade. And he uses something like, he had written one thing, he likes to use what's called the establisage method where you have all these parts and stuff, these little workshops in different parts of Switzerland, and they come in and he puts them all together, has a source for them. And his watches they're great. They cost about I think $112,000. This is people lining up to get in line to get one. The interesting thing about it is that he was interviewed by some, I forgot which magazine it was, but they were asking him all about this and so forth. They said, "Yeah, that's a lot of money." He said, "What would you recommend for a collector who is, relatively new, can't afford, a whole lot of things? What would be a good entry level watch?" And he thought about it for a while, and he comes to, "Oh, Patek Philippe, those are cheap." I thought, wow, cheap, but I think you can find an entry level around $20,000. It's funny because that was my first entry into high horology, was a Calatrava, Patek Philippe Calatrava. It's been a wonderful watch, but it's like from 1968, and while it's in pristine shape, I certainly wouldn't say, "Well, you want a cheap one? Go get a Patek Philippe." Anyway, these watches, I forgot the name of it, sort of a Curvex shape that they have to them. And like I said, he makes about 2 a year now. The thing about Daniel Roth that most people don't understand, I give him credit for totally saving Breguet. Breguet had some couple of watches, and they weren't doing so hot, and he went in there. They hired him. He worked there, I don't know, maybe 10 years or so, and it really turned the company around. Wonderful, wonderful watchmaker. Anyway, so these are the second 5 of the best watches in the world. And I can tell you right now, I own none of them. I doubt I ever will, but they're ones I can see. I can see certain aspects of it. I do have a Daniel Roth chronograph, not a chronometer, but a chronograph. And so you can find some on the used market, but it's got an El Primero movement in it, not one that he did. Okay, like to get your opinion on these and hear what you have to say. And until next time, this is Bill Sanders for Watch Art Sci, the art and science of watch collection. And this is an invitation to subscribe if you'd like. Take care.